Hi everybody, I'm Danny. I'm the Kidtropolis educator for Children's Museum Houston. So one of the spaces that we have in our Kidtropolis exhibit is our Art Academy, where we get to learn and practice different art skills and techniques. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to take you through a specific project, and it's one that's actually pretty awesome because not only are we using creativity, not only are we creating art with pretty simple materials, but we also get to use our art afterwards, because what we're going to do is make paper puppets. Now all you need for paper puppets, you need some paper, go figure, right? You also will need some scissors and some glue. Really, if you've got these three things, you can make yourself a paper puppet. Other things that are great to have, markers or crayons or something that you can use to add some additional details to your puppets. Also, if you happen to have some tape, especially if you have like Scotch tape, that's pretty nice too, because some of the pieces will stick a little bit easier with tape. So I'm going to start us off with one puppet. All of our puppets start the same way, and it involves a series of folds. So I'm going to start off with my green piece of paper here, because I'm actually going to turn my first puppet into a frog. All right, so my green piece of paper, I'm going to take this and I'm going to fold it in half, hot dog style, like this. So I'm going to go the long ways. I'll get my two ends to meet here, and then I'm just going to add a crease. Just like that. I'm going to open my paper back up. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my glue and I'm going to make a line of glue all the way down one side. Now you just want to do it at the edge here. We're trying to leave the middle part open, but go ahead and put a little extra glue on just so that we know that it holds. We're going to recrease just like we had before, but now we're going to press this end together. So now, if you take a look, my paper's folded in half, but I have a little space in the middle. So this side is sealed with the fold, this side is sealed with glue. Now I'm gonna set this aside just for a minute, just to give my glue a chance to dry before I move on to the next step. Now that my glue is dry, I'm going to move on to the next fold. So I already have one really long piece of paper. What I'm going to do is I'm going to fold it in half the opposite direction here. So again, I'm going to get my two ends to come together just like this, and I'm going to crease in the middle. And now I have a piece of paper that looks like this. Now I'm going to add two more folds to turn my piece of paper into a W. What that means is I'm going to take the open end, I'm going to fold it back to meet this middle crease, and I'm going to squish that down. I'll flip it over, take the other end, fold it back to meet the crease, and squish that down. So now if I hold it like this, you can see my piece of paper looks like the letter W. It's also called an accordion fold. But the cool thing is, because with that first fold I added that glue in, I actually have a little opening at one side of my W, and I have a little other opening at the other side of my W. So if I put my fingers in here and my thumb in down here, guess what I can do? Oh, it's a paper puppet! Yay! Okay, now this paper puppet is still not very exciting, and I would argue doesn't look that much like a frog. That's where our creativity comes into place. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use some other paper that I have, some other scrap paper, so that I can add details to my paper puppet. I'm gonna give him some eyes. I might give it, because he's a frog, I think I should give him a tongue. I think that seems important. So I'm gonna add some details to this puppet. I'm also gonna create a couple of other puppets just so you can see some different varieties or variations in how you can actually add those details to your paper puppets. So I'm gonna work on this for a little while. I'll show you what I've got when I'm done. All right, everybody, my paper puppets are done. I actually got a little carried away, so I made a couple of extra puppets because I was having a lot of fun. And my daughter made a couple of puppets I'm going to show you as well. So we'll start off with my frog, because this is who I was going with in the beginning with my green piece of paper. The details, I've added some eyes to my frog. I drew some little holes to be the nostrils for his nose, and then I added a long red tongue. Hello, how is everyone at home? I'm glad to see you being so creative. That's how frogs talk, in case you didn't know. If you'd never spoken to a frog before, they have very high voices. So I just want to show you really quick the technique for how I made these eyes look like they're popping up. It's actually pretty easy. All you need to do is you take your piece of paper, and rather than having the eye just be flat on the puppet's face, which is hard to see, what you can do is you can cut out a shape, like what I did for the eyes is I just made sort of an arch on top, but then I left it flat on the bottom. And then all you do is you fold up a tab on the bottom just like this. And that tab right there, that's actually what you glue or tape to the frog, and that's what helps it be more three-dimensional. That's what has it pop up like that. So you can do that to add a whole bunch of details and to make sure that they get seen. Otherwise it looks kind of flat. It's a little harder to see. So this is my frog. Now just to show you a couple of other examples, I also made a dog, my dog puppet right here, and I gave him a little pop-up nose. I gave him a tongue as well, but his isn't quite so big as the frog's, and I gave him some nice floppy ears. I decided to make a shark. Very scary. He's got his teeth, he's got his big fin here, of course his giant eyes because he's looking for something to eat, and he can of course sing songs like baby no, I would not do that for you all. I'm so sorry. Pretend I didn't do that. Okay, now I also have a couple to show off. This is one my daughter made to be friends with the shark, or you know, to swim away if that's necessary. Is we have a little fishy right here, and he's got some little fins on the side as well as some scales. She also made a kitty cat, and the kitty cat has a crown because it is of course a princess kitty cat, very important. So here's our kitty cat with the kitty cat crown. We got a little tail detail in the back. And then one more that I made just to show you how you can change the shape of the mouth is I made a bird, but rather than keeping the front flat, I cut out some extra long pieces to make a beak. Hello! My voice is even higher than a frog's. You never would have guessed. So now we have all of these different puppets. Guess what? This is some really cool art that we've made, but we don't have to just put it up on a shelf. We can actually use our art to do things like tell stories. You could make up a story about a dog and a bird. You can read your favorite book and act it out using these characters. You can have them sing songs. Right? It doesn't have to be a song about a shark. It can be a song about anything that you want. So there are a lot of different ways that you can use your art that you have created. So I would definitely encourage you to find some paper, find some scissors and glue, start making your paper puppets, and then see how you can use them to tell stories, to play games, and generally these are a really, really fun thing for a really long time. I can promise you that. So thank you very much, everybody, for joining me today. I hope you enjoy creating art, and we will see you later.